Recording. All right. Hey guys, thank you for joining LiveFULLy. My name is Chris Drabenstadt, and I picked a special shirt for our Zoom tonight. It's probably backwards, but it says work in progress. And so as I went to my closet and was like, oh, what am I going to put on? Because I've been in my pajamas for the past couple of hours and had to get dressed for the call and was like, what am I going to wear? I thought this was perfect for the topic because coming off of celebration, what I wanted to do is share some takeaways from, especially from Tony Robbins, who is just the most incredible, amazing speaker ever. And it was my first time seeing him in person, but I took some really good notes, and not a ton of them, but the ones that I took really sunk in. And so I wanted to share some of those in case you weren't at celebration, or to get more discussion going about, I mean, there's just some really good tips that he has about success and getting into action. And then the other thing that I wanted to talk about, other than the takeaways from celebration, is really recommitment. And so, you know, coming back from celebration, there's a lot of people that are participating in the 90-day game plan that are really kind of like getting back on track. You know, it's just like summer vacations are coming to a close, and, you know, things are starting to get like back to normal toward the end of, we've got an end of summer slim down going on, like with the yacht club team. So it's kind of like, all right, we're ending the summer and we're getting back into the fall, and lots of people recommitting to themselves in a lot of different ways, not just nutrition wise. So I want to talk about that for sure. But I really want to also have some conversation with you guys about like areas in your life that you feel deserving of recommitment. And there's Kay. Hi. All right, I'm going to mute you, or can you mute yourself?
Yes.
Okay, thanks. I mean, until we're like all ready to talk. There's the gallery view. I'm like, why am I not seeing this the right way? Okay, so back to recommitment. Like, you know, okay, well, I guess we'll get to that later. Let's first do takeaways from celebration. Who on the call, either, you know, just holler it out if you're on the phone, or if you're on video, was at celebration to see, or if you were online, like actually saw Tony Robbins' presentation or speech? Anybody? No. Okay, you saw Tony Robbins. Okay. So here is what I wanted to bring up about him. So he talked about the three forces of creation. Here are the three things, you guys, that really matter. Number one is focus. Focus, focus, focus. So the power of absolute clarity and commitment. And so he's talking, and I'm like writing stuff down. But you guys got to understand, like, I'm a little slow when it comes to processing things. I always have been. I'm one of those, like, I hear it and I write it down, but then I have to think about it, and I think about it some more. And then at some point it just like gets me right in the gut, you know, like, like now I get, like, I really grasp it, you know, or maybe like in a different way that I did in the beginning. And so I wrote that down, you know, I'll be typing in my phone, the power of absolute clarity and commitment is really what focus means. And so, you know, I think everybody has kind of a general idea of like, okay, well, what are you focusing on? Like, what are you thinking about? But when you think about like putting absolute clarity around what you're focusing on, and then the commitment behind what you're focusing on, like, are you committed to that thing? Or are you like, is it kind of like a passing thought? Like, yeah, I thought about that. You know, it was a goal that I had, but I don't have specific clarity and I don't have commitment. Then that's going to be a problem. The second major thing that he talked about was massive action. He said massive action is the cure-all. And so he's like, how do you do that? You find someone who has already done what you're trying to do, and you talk to them, you model them, you interview them, like swallow your pride and be like, help me do this, right? I am not, which for, you know, red personality, kind of growing up, leader / control freak leader, to be able to like let go and actually, I mean, like you guys, my mom tells me that like my first sentence was, I'll do it myself, except I couldn't say the F sound. And so I could only say S's. So it was like, I'll do it myself. And so like that kind of gives you an idea of like what kind of stubborn kid that I was, right? So like if I'm trying to do something, like I'm the first one that's trying to figure it out on my own. But what he talks about, I'm this Tony Robbins, like the master trainer of like the entire world. That's like, go find somebody that's already done what you've done and go model them. Like ask them what they've done, you know, have them help you. Don't try to do it yourself. And then the third thing is grace, which I loved. I was so not ready for him to say that because, you know, I thought it was going to be very tactical. And then he, you know, talked about like, you know, we all just need a little grace sometimes, you know, like, and to really give gratitude for the grace that we receive that's available to us every day. So those are the three things: focus, massive action, and grace. And then really quick, and then I'm going to open it up, is he said information without emotion doesn't stick. So like how many times were you like, oh my God, I've heard this thing like 100 times and I forgot it again. And it's like, well, no wonder, because it didn't, like there was nothing behind it that like grabbed you. Like there was no emotion. There was no, I was so pissed about it, or that was so profound to me, or it meant so much. You know, it was just like some information that just like went in and went out the other ear. And so when I started thinking about, you know, this idea of like, okay, we're going to recommit. We're going to talk about recommitment. But here's like, to be successful, these three things in order to be successful: focus, having complete commitment and clarity, massive action, go model somebody that's already done it and like get into massive action. And then don't forget about giving gratitude, right? Like acknowledging the grace. But how that information, like what it does inside of you matters. So I will never forget seeing Tony Robbins, because when he had everybody standing up and everybody stand up and start holler at the top of your lungs, you know, the old me, and I mean old like 6 months ago, a year ago, would have been like, I'm not doing this. This is dumb. Or I'm not doing this because I'm a little embarrassed, even though everybody else is doing it, but I'm just going to watch everybody do it. But I also wouldn't have felt what I felt when I was jumping up and down. Like really, when you really, really want change, and it like, and you're willing to like do whatever it takes to put yourself out there. It's like, I felt what we were doing in that room, jumping up and down, hollering at the top of our lungs, like, you know, making commitments to ourselves. I felt that in my belly. And so I just wanted to open it up and see if any of those things were, if you were there, if they were things that you guys also wrote down. And if you weren't there, just kind of open it up for general discussion. Like, does any of that resonate with you guys about anything like that you're thinking about making changes in your life, whether it's, you know, around nutrition and habits, or whether it's, you know, work habits? I mean, I've got a laundry list of things that I can apply them to, but like anything around focus, massive action, or grace that anybody wants to share about. I'm going to open it up. You can just unmute yourself, and then when you're done talking, press mute again. Hey, James. Anybody? Was I the? That was the only. I was the only one that really dug that part of
Chris. Hey, Chris. It's Morgan.
Hi.
sorry y'all can't see me, but I was there, and I've seen Tony a couple times before that, and each time it's kind of almost like, I think his little like 3-hour thing he kind of does with this short session there. It's similar, but I've gotten something different out of each one of them. And when you were sharing, I was thinking as far as on my like weight loss journey and stuff, it's, you know, for a long time, when I first started with Isagenix, I'm not sure who's on. I can't see anybody. Of course, I'm on my phone, but some of y'all might know my story. I know you do, Chris. But for the longest time, like when I first started Isagenix, I did really well. It was something new, and I was, you know, my focus was right there because it was something new, and I was kind of determined at that moment to kind of give this a try. And then over some time, you know, my focus started I kind of was in that revolving door that I was comfortable in. So I kind of got back in that revolving door, and I kind of started going the other way. But the whole time I still had that focus. I still had that desire and that drive deep down in my pit. I knew it was there. Like I wanted to be healthy. I wanted to lose weight. I wanted to feel better. And I kept watching other people around me succeed. My action level was not there. I was not doing 2 shakes a day. I was not putting in the effort to exercise. I was going through fast food. So the action that I was taking was not leveling up, or it was not congruent with my vision or my focus. So, you know, I wasn't getting results. And then what I really liked what you said about the emotion, like, as you know, my story, my emotion came in when my son told me that somebody had called me fat at school. And so when that emotion came in there, with that, and seeing how he was able to hold that in for a year and not even tell me, it hit a special place in my heart, and it put that emotion there, which kicked my butt into gear and created that action for me. And then when I got, you know, the action is when I started seeing results in my weight loss. And another thing I kind of wanted to add is what you were saying about, like, I had the vision for myself and I saw it, but what I did for a long time, what really kept me in the culture and Isagenix and coming around. I know not everybody on in LiveFULLy is with Isagenix, but what it has done for me is people that I was surrounding myself around in the event, they were pouring belief into me. And seeing other people walk across the stage in the 100-pound club, even though I wasn't putting in the action, there was always little pieces of belief that I was picking up at each event or each call I got on or every Zoom. And so I was plugging into that, and it kept building me up and giving me that more and more hope in myself and in my vision and in my focus that, okay, maybe this is possible for me. But again, that action wasn't there until that emotion came. So that really, I can't remember what the phrase was that you exactly said, but that really hit with me because it just reminds me so much of exactly what happened to me is when that emotion came is when I really was able to get that fire under my butt. And it was just like, you know what, I'm going to be a healthy person, and a healthy person. I didn't have to see the whole staircase there. I knew I wanted to be a healthy person. I knew I didn't want to let my son down. And so it was just like a healthy person gets up and walks every day, and a healthy person gets up and does shakes or whatever healthy meal plan you're on. Or, you know, a healthy person doesn't run through McDonald's 2, 3, 4 times a week or a day. At some points in my life, it was like that. And then those little bitty steps that I was taking every single day, I didn't see results right away, of course, but now looking back, you know, that started in March, and here I am almost like 20 pounds away from 100 gone. It's just like, I look back and I can kind of see the journey and everything you said, Chris, about the 3 steps and then that emotion thing. So I just, you know, right on time as usual, just plugging into every little call. And so I just appreciate you, and the event was great, and appreciate this group.
Thank you, love. I have a follow-up question for you, though. I also,
Absolutely.
while I was there, sat through one of the breakout sessions with Rod Hairston, and I'm telling you, I saved a seat for someone for Tony Robbins with the notebook that I took notes in during my Rod Hairston session, and somebody took my notebook. And I'm telling you, I was like, you would have thought that notebook cost like $1 gajillion because of all the things. Like, I had my cookies and cream like shake on one seat, saving a seat, and then I had like an empty bag on another seat, and then my notebook, and it was like, not my notebook, like, because like the notes that I took in Rod's session were so amazing. But what made me think of this question is he talks a lot about that deception phase. Like, we all get into this, like, all right, I'm ready to do this again. Like, I'm ready to recommit, ready to do it. Like, here we are again, except I've heard myself say this 100 times. You know what I'm talking about, because you have done the same, it's the over and over again thing, right? And then how, like, now you're cranking. And it's like, you're going and you're like commit, and like there, you can tell when that light switch goes off in somebody's head of like, I am sick and tired of being sick and tired, and I mean it this time. And I know I've said it 10 times, but this time, like, I'm serious. And like, and that's the time, right? Like that you have that breakthrough that all the other times, but there is that one time, like, that it actually like propels you forward. How did you've had to hit in these past however many months that you've been, cranking along, you've had to hit some points of like deception, of kind of like your mind is like, you can't do this, you're here we go again, and you think you've been successful, but here we go. You're like, how did you face that? And like, what have you done to get through that deception phase?
Chris, I have faced that a little bit this time, not as much as I have in the past. It's, people have reached out to me a lot, and they can tell the difference. You can see it in me just being around me. I can feel it is different this time. I feel like I lived so long in that revolving door of just around and around, and every time I got off the revolving door and did anything better with my life, I just always would end up back on the door. And so my self-belief in myself was pretty much at a zero. I had no self-belief in myself, no self-worth. I didn't believe that I could do it, even though I kind of like wanted to do it, and that vision was there, and even sometimes the action was there. There was still that I wasn't deserving of it. I didn't feel like I was worthy of it. I didn't feel deserving of it, and I didn't believe in myself. And I think I always had these huge goals, or like, it was always like, oh, I got to be in a bikini by summer, or I'm going to look good for this wedding, or it was never just about, I want to be here because I want to see Joshua get married. He's 12 now. So, I knew that if I stayed in that revolving door and I kept eating the way I was eating and not exercising and not doing anything about it, or this yo-yoing and up and down, I was going to have a heart attack, or I was going to have diabetes, and then what kind of life am I able to live? I'm here at the beach, and our house is not right on the beach. It's kind of like a block off, and then there's a little bit of a road you have to walk, and then there's it's on this like little water inlet. And for the last 4 or 5 years, I've been coming here, and I've driven my car. It's not even a quarter of a mile down the road. I've literally gotten in my car every single time and drove down there, because the thought of walking, and honestly, literally, it was hard, because with 77 extra pounds on you, or 80 pounds on you, your knees hurt, your feet hurt, everything hurts, you're sweating just basically walking to the mailbox. So walking down to the beach, it seemed so hard. And this time I've just been like walking it, and it feels amazing, because it's just like so easy. And if I had thought about all the things at once, and how different everything was going to be, and how much weight I was going to have off by a certain time, or if it was about a bikini or anything, it's just, this time has just been about being healthy. It's not about a certain size. It's not about a certain number on the scale. It's not about a certain dress, or for anybody else. It's for me. It's for me to be healthy, for me to be able to live the type of life that God and the universe has put here for us to live. And I wasn't living. I was in the bed. I was napping. I was going to doctors, searching for what's wrong with me, fix me. And all it took was literally just small little daily choices of action. And celebrating myself, I don't care if it's a pound. I don't care if it's just one extra walk I did today, or no matter what it is, just celebrating. And if I have an off day, it's about not beating yourself up, Because once you start beating yourself up and, oh, I'm not worthy now, and, oh, you had one piece of pizza, or you didn't, get up and walk today, we can be so cruel to ourselves. So, and then plugging into things, plugging into calls like this, surrounding myself with other people who want to do better. Listening to stuff. When I go on walks, I'm not listening to music. I'm listening to books. Louise Hay's, You Can Heal Your Life, the Healthy Mind and Body program that Isogenics does, Rod Harrison's book. Anything that I can listen to, I'm listening to them over and over again as I walk. And it's just become something that I really look forward to doing. And it's just like, it's those small daily little steps. And then all of a sudden you look back, 6 months has gone by, and all these changes have been made, but they didn't happen overnight. They were little bitty steps.
I love it. That, it sounds like the emotion part really settled in, for you on this part of the journey. Just because it's been, something that you have just been so committed to, and having that clarity, the very first thing about focusing, like on when that's the goal, like you named specific things that you do. I don't listen to music. I listen to, a podcast. I listen to Rod Harrison. I listen to Louise Hay. Like I go for walks. I like all of those things are kind of like what I've been doing for the past few days since I got back after listening to Tony is like, all right, Chris, let's not like just talk the talk and say, all right, like I'm going to do this different about building my business. I'm going to do this different about, like being healthy and like, all those things in the cupboard that don't need to be up there, that you've been getting back into these bad habits again, or still, like specifically, what am I going to do different? And like, as a process kind of a girl, like you would think like for like that, it's necessary for me, because otherwise I know I'm going to wake up in the morning and go back to status quo, right? Like your body, your brain is used to like whatever you do until you specifically make those changes and say every single day, nope, these are the new steps. Like, this is what I do when I get up today instead of yesterday. It's just like you, like a healthy person doesn't go do X, Y, Z. A healthy person does these things, and those are the things that you do. But they don't just come to you like a magic genie or, like poof. Now, like you have to be, like Tony said, like in massive action, like every single day. What are those things I'm going to do different this time that is going to actually make a difference? So thank you for your share. Who else has something to share? Oh, don't fight over it now. Don't fight over the microphone, everybody.
Okay, Chris. I just kind of want to like talk a little bit. Of course, you know that I'm in the fitness industry. I have been since basically 2002. And, I have people coming to me every day, and I actually change lives, on a daily basis. I work with active older adults. I work with youth. I work with teens. I mean, it's across the board. And, there's a lot of times that people, come to me and look at me like, you're in such great shape, and, you do this and this and this. But the one thing that I have learned through all of these years is that just listening is the most important thing, because a lot of times people have issues that they're dealing with on a daily basis, and they're dealing with their health, they're dealing with their families, they're dealing with their kids, they're dealing with just life, and sometimes just trying to get healthy is a struggle for most people. And the one thing that I just tell people is that, the most important thing is you got to focus on you, because if you're not like on your game and you're not like where you need to be, then all of these other people that, you're trying to take care of, it's hard for you to do because you've got to take care of yourself first. That's most important. I just wanted to, say that, because a lot of people get like trapped in their mind with, the things that they're dealing with and they're going through. And I even deal with that. People look at me and I'm like, I'm a fitness instructor and I do this, this, and this. But, I have my daily struggles also. But I'm also a coach, and I'm like pushing people and like trying to bring the best out of people. But, when it comes down to the end of the day and you go home, you're dealing with yourself, and you got to love yourself. That's where it comes down to change your life and to change other people's lives. You've got to love yourself first.
Amen. I couldn't agree more. Yesterday I was reading something that talked about being gentle on yourself. And as a competitive person, a lot of times I do the, like, why am I doing this again? Like, I've done it 100 times and I'm doing it again, and I get so like the frustration and like, self-talk, like even when nobody's around, it's like I'm here with 4 dogs right now, but I probably talked to myself more in the past couple of days, like, and having to go through that self-correction of, knowing that deception exists, knowing that we mess up, like knowing that, just look at the group of like people that have been in the IsaBody challenge. Like if you know about Isagenix, like, do you know how many people got somewhere like honorable mention or some kind of an award or like met their goals on the first try? Not very many. Like, I don't even know, but like, I would probably venture to say like hardly any. Everybody's like, yeah, it took me 2 times. It took me 5 times. It took me 20 times until I actually like stuck to it, made my goal. I was talking with Amanda this afternoon about like recommitting. I'm like, I'm doing a 30-day system again. I haven't done one like solid since the like second time that I started Isagenix. And I'm like, yeah, I said second time. I started and I quit 30 days later. And she was like, so did I. Like, so did everybody. Who cares? Be gentle on yourself. Like there's no reason to like, beat up. And it's something that, just being transparent and vulnerable with everybody on here is that like, I just struggle with that all the time, every day. Like, Chris, stop. Like, so start over again. It's okay. Everybody starts over again. Like, no biggie. Like, there's no reason to like, be upset. And, that self-love, Aljanette, that you said, that you gotta love yourself first, and you gotta take care of yourself first. For me, really starts with that, gentle, like, yes, we're going to try this again. Yes, we need some rest. And so we're going to rest. We're not going to feel guilty that we're actually resting today. And, like, I think that goes such a long way in our ability to serve other people.
Right.
And if we don't do it, then it's that I resent having to do this for you because I'm exhausted, because I'm tired, because I don't feel like it, and this is not what I want to do, and and instead I can actually show up if I love myself first, and then pour into your cup. So I appreciate that share, and I agree with you. I touch and agree.
The other thing is that and you'll have to pardon my voice because I have allergies. So they're like doing a lot of farm work around my house right now. So anyway, the other thing is that, I wanted to say that even the people that, I'm like that are on the product, and they've not reordered, and they're giving me, like, I've got this going on, I've got that going on. And I'm like, I understand. I'm here for you. I'm here to support you. So how are things going? I'm continually talking with them and trying to encourage them through their self-doubt, because I understand that self-doubt. I have a gentleman that just actually signed up a little over 30 days ago. He's lost 35 pounds and he's doing amazing. And he's a very private person. He doesn't want to be like thrown out there. And I respect that with him. And he's a very business person. And I've tried to reach out to him, but I'm not giving up, even though he's like turned me, like he's not texting me back. And he's like, like, I'm like, how you doing? I know he's doing great because he's determined. However, just because he's not replying back to me, I'm not going to get frustrated in that sense of, like not responding back to him, because I know that he needs continual support and he needs that backing, just like, even I do, in my field, I'm constantly coaching and helping others, everybody needs support. So it's just, just keep pressing through, keep being positive. And it's like, you say, listening to those daily affirmations and being positive and, staying in that mindset. Some days it's a struggle, but we have to keep pushing through, because that's what changes us. If we push through and don't fall back into what we were used to thinking or yesterday, and being better, today, but being better tomorrow. So it's, it's all about, pushing yourself into being the best person you can be.
And I love that say. It makes me think of that saying that there is no there. Like living in the moment, living in today, like appreciating where you are today. Like you're exactly, I have I don't want to turn my screen around, but like this is my meditation room and I have all kinds of like positive, inspiring things all over the walls. And like one of my favorites says, your journey is unfolding exactly as it should be. And, I think about like, why am I not cycling as many times as someone else, getting caught up in comparison, and like, why can I not be like as committed as I want to when I'm like, I know I could win that IsaBody if I really wanted to, but like, why did I start a 30-day system and 2 weeks later I was like, we're not going to tell anybody, we kind of fell off of that. Allow it, like that gentleness, allowing of being where we are, like that it's exactly where we're supposed to be. We're supposed to be working through the process. We're, supposed to be hitting different ups and downs and phases and learning as we get through it. And so it's like, if we always are looking toward the other, like the there, like once I get there, something will be different. It's like, there is no there. Like it's every single day is the there, like you're there now. So kind of appreciating that and being gentle. And I think, you touched on a great point that as a coach, people need support in a lot of different ways. Some people are like, yeah, I don't need to hear all the chatter. I just need you to show up at the gym at 8:00 every day, like with me, or I do, like, I need an ear. Like, I just need you to listen to me then, for what, like knowing kind of how people, need that support differently, I think is really key too. And you're amazing at doing that. You're such a supportive person, but being gentle with yourself, I think knowing you since college, I know that you deserve more of that, as do I. So thanks for that share. Who else? Anybody else want to chat?
Hey, Chris.
Okay.
I watched the Tony Robbins thing, and when you were talking about grace, what I got out of that and what really sort of hit me in the gut was, I will extend grace to everyone else faster than I do to myself. So, you know, a lot of what, and I talked to you earlier today and said, you know, I had to have a little talk with myself and say, are you afraid of success or are you afraid of failure? What is your, you know, get out of your way. It doesn't have to be perfect. You just have to keep moving. And so for me, that was a big, huge thing was, if this were your friend, if this were your kid, if this were anyone else, would you be beating them up like you're beating yourself up? You know, because I had a whole lot of this, oh, come on, I've been saying I'm going to do this for the last whatever. And then I'd start and stop and start and stop. So that for me, the grace and gratitude, I'm always grateful. I know that there are great things that are planned for me. And so I'm going, I need to get out of my way so I can be there. And something about the grace, he didn't say it exactly that way, but get out of your own way and extend the same grace to yourself. So for me, that was a biggie, a really big, huge thing. But I don't know if it's that way for everybody, but I know I'm harder on myself than most people that I know, you know. So.
Yes, 1000%. Our chat earlier, I have had with other people as well about martyrdom. And I've actually been doing some study lately on different archetypes that I don't know if any of you guys are into psychology or remember Carl Jung, but there's this really thick book about all, you know, these archetypes that are in all of us. And we might have more of one than the other, but like one, for instance, is the victim. Yeah, I know that one really well. That nobody appreciates me, and you know, and then I mean, but we talk about like the martyr as an archetype, like that. Sometimes, you know, you were like, well, that's like, I think as women, and maybe it was like a certain time period, like maybe it's not so much that way now, you know, as it used to be, but kind of growing up around women that were givers to a fault. I mean, truly to a fault, like where you learned that that's what you're supposed to do is worry about everybody else first. And then you end up with nothing, you know? And it's like, I get it, because that's a total like retraining of kind of, you know, what we think we're supposed to do, how we're supposed to show up in the world. And it's like, I had a call yesterday with Candace on our team, and she sent me, oh my God, I've texted it to like some of my friends, but the funniest TED Talk, but like so true. And there's a lot of profanity. There's a lot of like F-bombs. Like that's the title of the thing about not giving up. But how empowering it is to be able to say no when you need to say no, right? To other people, because you're saying yes to yourself. And that's a toughie, you know, like but we got to learn how to do that in order to be successful, because I mean, when I go back to his massive action thing of model someone who's done this. I can look at my business. I can look at, you know, losing weight. Anybody you look at is going to be like, I'm going to the gym every day. Why? For me. It's not for anybody else. It's for me. I'm going to get up and have 2 shakes a day, no matter what. Why? Because it's for me. Like I'm giving to myself. I'm loving myself. And it's like that's when people start to really see success. I mean, it's like Tony Robbins, like number 2, like get into massive action, but you have to do that. You have to be able to say no. Like I truly believe, like, I mean, I'm just starting to see the power of, she says in the TED Talk, I don't remember the name of the person that did it, but if anyone's interested, I'll send it to you. It's like just full of fucks. But the point of the whole TED Talk is you have to choose what you're going to give an F about. in your life. And if you give an F about everything, then you're it's not going to take you anywhere, right? Like you're going to stress and you're going to resent people and you're going to sit in this crappy state, which Tony Robbins says is like the number one thing for us to do, is to be able to manage our state from moment to moment. As I do it all day long. I mean, I know Morgan sitting on here, Aljanette, like it is constant that it's like, all right, I'm trying to shift myself out of this little talky talk thing I got going on up here. Work in progress. But yeah, like so important, to give to ourselves first, and not get sucked into that whole martyr, do for everybody else. Because look, I mean, really, is that how you want to spend your life? Of course, you want to be a giver and be of service to people, but there's a difference when it's at the detriment, you know what I mean, of your own well-being. You can't show up for people when you have nothing left to give. So who else? Thanks for that, Kay. James, Monique, David. Did David drop off? He's probably out hiking somewhere with no reception.
Hey, can you hear me? Yeah. Okay. I was going to say, you guys are really speaking to me about I guess, like doing for everybody else and not looking out for yourself. I'm a single mom. I have a 2-year-old. And I don't know if you've noticed, I've had to zoom in and out even on this because I have to stop and try to keep my daughter from trying to kill herself, doing something crazy. But it's just so hard to achieve that balance sometimes of doing for yourself and saying no without, being considered a bad person. And I think that's where I always fall off the wagon, just with even this isogenics process. I'll do really good for a little bit. And then, I feel like, okay, I got to do this for my child. I may not be able to get that second shake in, or I may not be able to get that workout in, or, I'm stressed out, so I'm going to eat this bag of pork skins. It's just, it's kind of a tough battle. And it's hard because a lot of people in my circle, like the message that they send to me is that, you have to look out for everybody else first. You have to look out for everybody else first, and then you do for yourself with whatever's left. And that's just like the wrong message to send out. So I'm kind of trying to get into the process of looking out for me, because I have to realize if I'm not where I need to be, my daughter can't be where she needs to be, and other people around me can't be where they need to be. So that's kind of where I am now, trying to fit in that balance of looking out for myself without being selfish, if you understand what I'm saying. So I kind of appreciate the last couple of comments from you guys. It's helping me out a lot.
Yay, I'm glad. I love these calls. Yeah, man, we gotta show up for ourselves for sure. And I don't have any kids, so I don't get it as much as like I see it, and I'm like, I honestly, like, I sit back and I'm like, I don't know how y'all do it, because I have dogs, and it's hard for me sometimes to feel like I just need some time to myself, let alone, I mean, they follow me into the bathroom just like toddlers supposedly do, where you're like, can I have a minute? But I'm sure that's nothing in comparison to like the responsibility of having to show up, for a 2-year-old. Obviously there are crates that the dogs can go in when I need my time. But yeah, man, being able to like take a breath and like at whatever time of day that is, or, it's like those 10 minutes, like Casey always talks about, like the pockets of your time, like with people that, have kids and multiple jobs and are, on the go constantly. And it's like, if you want this, freedom lifestyle, badly enough, whether it's just about your health or wealth or both, it's like what, you just have to find the time to pour into yourself, every day. And I can imagine, I mean, it just, really have compassion, for you, like, and I see like the nurse and there's an automatic like giverness, like that I'm like, I can just see like in your uniform, I'm like, oh yeah, I know you're going to give to everybody else first. But however that feels, it feels good to have permission, to give yourself permission. And that's something I feel like we don't do enough is, be gentle on ourselves and give ourselves permission to show up for yourselves. I saw, I don't know if anybody else saw on Facebook, there was something going around that I ended up clicking on it, and it's like you take a test to see something about yourself. And usually I just skip them, but I was like, oh, this one looks fun. And I took it, and at the end, it was talking about, one of the questions in the test was, when someone gives you a compliment, do you A, like reject the compliment, B, like say thanks and just, whatever, keep it moving, or like C, say, thank you, I love getting compliments. And I kind of laughed at that because, again, like back to this whole like martyr, like, it's more about confidence and like belief. And so Morgan talked about like believing in yourself and like how that creates such a change and a shift in like our ability to be successful, believing in yourself. But that's one of the things that I would no matter how cute I thought I looked or the dress that I had on, I would not take that compliment for nothing. You'd be like, Chris, I love that dress. It is like banging. I'd be like, girl, that thing was only $10. I got it at TJ Maxx. I would find some way to just not accept it. And then I was talking to a guy on our team who is a minister, and he said, let me tell you something that I learned about like receiving. And whether it's compliments, whether it's, time for ourselves, like just receiving from the universe in general, like of receiving abundance. He said people, as a pastor, people would always want to bring me things and give me things. And I would be like, no, I can't take it, right? Like, I don't need that cake, and I'll never eat the whole thing or whatever. And what I was doing is I was actually, number one, it would kind of hurt people's feelings because they generally were coming from a place of love and, gratitude, and let me show you how much I appreciate you, right? And so when you cut that off, it feels crappy as the giver because you're like, well, dang, I spent 3 hours making this perfect cake. And he said, no, like, I don't want the cake. And he said the second thing that it does is it plants a seed for people when you receive from them. Like, so they're giving to you, but like to see someone receive their gift is showing them like how the universe is supposed to work, right? Like you give and I take, and then I give and you take, and like we do it back and forth together. There's no like, I give but I don't take. Like who ever said that? Nobody. Like, right? We're here to bless each other. So like, why can I give, but I can't say like, even if I know that cake's going in the trash, as soon as I get it home, man, oh my God, thank you so much for that cake, right? Like the test online. Thank you for that compliment. I received that. I love getting compliments. Like receive it. And Kay and I were talking earlier, and I was like 99.9% of the time, people are not lying to you when they compliment you, when they're saying something nice, when they're trying to pour into you, right? Some words of compassion or encouragement or something. Like people are not like trying to blow sunshine up your butt. Like it is really coming from the heart. So to cut that off and not be able to receive, and like the same with ourselves, right? It's like our higher self is like a whole nother person talking to us, and it can be really, really nice and compassionate and gentle and pouring into us, or it can be that devil on the other shoulder that's like, you can't do this, you're not good enough, you don't have time for yourself. Like, which one is it going to be? And so I think learning that, process and like having these different conversations all within like, it's probably within the past 48 hours about receiving. And like, it's good to do that. It's good to accept a compliment. It's good to, you know, accept the cake and appreciate, you know, what the person's done for you. But just as important to do that for yourself, you know, to recognize that I need some balance. I've been given, you know, I've got the 2-year-old, I've got the people, I've got the patients, I've got, you know, like, when do I refill and replenish? When? When? Okay, we have a little less than 10 minutes. Anybody else want to have a share on this? No? Okay. Then the last thing that I just want to kind of close with is this idea of recommitment. You know, I am, again, I did this in the spring where I was like, all right, guys, spring renewal, 30-day system. We went through a book that's called The Untrue Story of You that talked about, if you guys haven't read that book, go get it. It's amazing. It talks all about how our past emotions that attach to certain patterns of behavior, it's like they get stuck there, and how it teaches you how to look at things as brand new every single day so that you can start to change like patterns of behavior. So when it comes to, you know, compulsive overeating, getting that next 20 pounds off, committing to building a business, like whatever that thing is that you're setting this recommitment to, 2 things. One is this idea of grace, gratitude, and like gentleness. So no pressure, right? Like take the pressure off. Like there's no reason for it. If you're starting a 90-day game plan, which there's a call literally in 5 minutes, so day 1, 90-day, like, let's go get into massive action. Normally I would be like, I don't even want to do it because I know how much pressure I put on myself and it's not fun. And if I don't do it and then I feel guilty about it and it starts this like roller coaster of emotions that I'm like, well, I didn't want to do it anyway. Like if you take the pressure away and just be gentle and say, you know what, I'm where I need to be. I'm a work in progress. My journey is unfolding is exactly as it should be. It's like, I'm just doing it again. And it can just be that, right? Like it doesn't have to be some expectation. Still having these notes up from Tony Robbins, but talking about like, that's where suffering begins, is when we have an expectation about something and it doesn't turn out according to our expectation, and then we start to suffer. So it's like lose the expectation in the first place, and then there is no suffering because I don't have an expectation. I'm going into it with a wide open mind, like I'm going to see this as new. This 30-day system, I'm going to see it as new. You know, not like the last time when I was like, I only made it through like a week and a half or whatever it was. It probably wasn't even that, but I know that I've done it before. You know, so I know that people around me do it every day, and you know that you know, I'm a believer, 1,000% believer in the products and what they can do. And I mean, everybody on this call is I think had success, but so gratitude for where you are. You know, take the pressure off, be gentle on yourself, and then really going back to, you know, that the number 1 point that Tony Robbins had about focus and having that clarity and commitment behind whatever it is that you're restarting. So if it's, I'm recommitting to my health, I'm recommitting to exercise in my workout, you know, I'm recommitting to, one of the things I'm getting back to is doing more study. And so it's like recommitting to like, well, how am I going to do that? I can't just say I'm going to recommit, because I'm not. Like, I'll get up tomorrow and I'm going to do the same stuff unless I have a plan, unless I have that, what Tony Robbins calls complete clarity. Like, what are the things that I'm going to do differently when I get up tomorrow? So take time to do that, because it's like homework, right? You don't just like all of a sudden say, well, I got a test tomorrow, so I'm going to get up and I'm going to ace that test. No, you actually like have to read and study and learn some stuff. So, you know, whatever it is, you guys, if you're like up for recommitment, coming off of celebration, whether it's your health, your business, time for yourself, just recommitting to like taking good care of yourself, so that you can take better care of your family. Think about what those specific things are that you're going to do differently versus just, being real serious about it this time. Because it's not enough, right? Like we got to have a plan to get into that massive action. Anybody want to close us out with an inspiring word? No? Okay. Well, thank you so much, you guys, for your participation and for jumping on. I always appreciate seeing your smiling faces, and it gives me inspiration and encouragement, and hope everybody enjoyed it. We'll be back next week, 8 o'clock Eastern on Monday. Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Love y'all.
Bye.